Collagen is everywhere online. In coffee, in gummies, in every my $1,000 wellness routine video, but barely anyone can actually explain how it works.
I am Mariana Kanevetskia, a biomedical scientist and chemist. This show is where we separate what's proven from what's just business and pretty marketing. For science sake, let's get into it.
Today, we're tackling the Beyoncé of supplements. People take it for skin, joints, nails, recovery. Some spend hundreds of dollars a year on it. Some swear it has changed their life. Others take it for months and can't tell the difference. You've heard dermatologists call it useless. Influencers call it the secret to glass skin. And yet, that's somehow in everyone's pantry, in no dermatologist's excitement, and in every influencer's morning non-negotiable stack, collagen. Why is collagen the most confusing supplement in the world? Part of the reason is this: scientific evidence actually points in two completely different directions depending on which studies you look at. Hey, maybe you've asked yourself some version of, is this really doing anything, or am I just wasting money? Or if collagen is real, why are the effects so tiny and so slow? And why is every brand promising a miracle? Earlier studies painted collagen as genuinely promising for skin. Improvements in skin hydration, elasticity, fine lines. But a newer analysis that focused only on independent trials found that those visible skin changes are much less consistent. This split is exactly why this topic is so messy. The marketing is loud, the evidence is quiet, and the truth sits somewhere in the awkward middle. So in this episode, we'll get clear on a few things: what collagen is actually doing in your body, what evidence is solid, where it's shaky, how to take it in a way that matches the research, and how to avoid pretty packaging instead of actual results. Let's get into it. Collagen is not a niche beauty molecule. It is the most abundant protein in your entire body. The scaffold for your bones, tendons, cartilage, skin, blood vessels, and even your gut lining. And yes, we lose it gradually and predictably in ways that we can actually influence. From your mid-20s, you lose around roughly 1% every year. And from 40 years onwards, the decline increases. Women see an especially sharp drop in the 5 years after menopause. But lifestyle hits it harder than birthdays. UV exposure, smoking, chronic inflammation, high sugar diets, all these factors drive collagen breakdown at a much faster rate. The consequences? You already know the visible ones. Wrinkles, loss of elasticity, more dryness, sagging. But collagen loss also affects joints, bone strength, arterial stiffness, even gut barrier function. So yes, collagen loss is real and it's worth talking about. But talking about it doesn't mean promising a miracle. Isn't collagen just very expensive protein? Yes, the internet's favorite one-liner. Collagen is just protein. A chicken breast does the same thing. This is the #1 myth online. Biologically, that's not quite true. There are many types of collagen, but types 1, 2, and 3 make up more than 90% of you. Type 1 is dominant in skin and bone. Type 2 is your cartilage. Type 3 pairs with type 1 in your skin and blood vessels. You can buy collagen in both native, often termed undenatured, or broken down, aka hydrolyzed forms. Crazy truth? In the human gut, collagen is not absorbed as collagen. It is broken down and repackaged into bioactive peptides that your digestive enzymes essentially build from scratch, and your cells pump it into your bloodstream in huge measurable quantities. Here's the key. Your gut has a transporter called peptide-1 that absorbs these tiny peptides directly. It is therefore no wonder that supplements typically are offered in hydrolyzed form. Imagine collagen as a giant rope. When you eat it, your body chops it into tiny little strings. Only the smallest, most specific peptides can slip through your gut intact and go, hey fibroblast cells, make more collagen. Radiotracer studies show these peptides enter the bloodstream intact, accumulate in skin and cartilage within hours, and stay detectable for days. And they don't behave like chicken breast protein. Collagen peptides stimulate fibroblasts, reduce collagen breaking enzymes, support cartilage cells, and even show some anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Whey, soy, albumin, none of these replicate that signaling pattern. So no, collagen isn't just protein, but it's also not Harry Potter. Does collagen actually work? Well, here's an honest answer. Collagen works to an extent in specific areas if you take enough for long enough. Most positive studies use daily dosing for at least least 12 weeks. Taking a scoop when I remember is basically the same as taking nothing. Typical research ranges are between 2.5 and 10 grams a day for skin benefits, 8 to 10 grams a day for joints, and 5 to 15 grams a day, usually with calcium and vitamin D for bones. Now, this really matters because most people take 5 grams here, 7 grams there, and then blame collagen for not being a wizard. Of interest, several meta-analyses show modest but real reductions in pain, stiffness, and also improved function in osteoarthritis patients. Mechanisms include anti-inflammatory signaling, support for cartilage matrix, and reduced collagen breakdown. In postmenopausal women in particular, taking daily collagen for a full year improved bone density and reduced markers of bone resorption. Now, skin is a completely different story. It's a bit more of a battlefield. Older meta-analyses, often industry funded, show improvements in hydration, elasticity, fine lines. But recent independent analysis of this year's, excluding funded studies, minimal effect on visible aging. So the most honest statement at present would be that skin effects, if they exist, are subtle, slow, and not guaranteed. A few small trials have noted an improved muscle recovery when and if collagen is taken with training, but this is likely because of extracellular matrix remodeling and anti-inflammatory signaling, and not due to muscle protein synthesis. If you want hypertrophy, whey is still king. There are also signals of improved blood pressure and improved gut barrier lining, but these signals are not quite yet conclusive. So definitely interesting points, but not definitive as of yet. Nails, the internet's favorite paradox. Nails improve dramatically. Joints improve. Skin, not so much. Because nails grow fast, are collagen rich, and show changes quickly. Skin aging, in truth, is slower and harder to detect. That's why Instagram is filled with 3-month hair and nail transformations, and not so much with skin miracles from collagen. The big question is, does the source actually matter? People love to debate this one. Is bovine better than marine? Is fish collagen superior? Which one is the real collagen? First, the universal truth. Once collagen hits your stomach, whether it's from a cow, a pig, or a fish, your digestive system completely breaks it down into the same core ingredients: amino acids and a handful of bioactive peptides. Your fibroblast cells are not sitting there saying, "Ah, yes, this peptide definitely came from a Norwegian cod." Fish collagen naturally has fewer crosslinks and lower thermal stability, which means digestive enzymes can cut it or hydrolyze into smaller peptides more easily. Smaller peptides, faster and more efficient absorption, higher levels of bioactive peptides circulating in the bloodstream, and stronger stimulus for fibroblasts to produce new collagen. This is why marine collagen gets marketed as bioavailable. And honestly, it's a fair point, but all that means is it's slightly more absorbable. The difference isn't life-changing. Think of your options like this. Fish delivers Ferraris, high-value peptides. Pork delivers Toyota Corollas, lots of reliable amino acids. Bovine collagen delivers a mix, and here, company delivery trucks actually make all the difference. The compact trucks, the low molecular weight peptides, actually move through a gut system much more easily, and so are 1.2 times more absorbable than bulkier, high molecular weight ones. Differences between sources arise because of bioactive peptide content, peptide size after collagen was broken down, how easily digestive enzymes can break up collagen, and thermal stability of the collagen. Species do not determine superiority, but processing does. It's important to note here as well that most bovine, porcine, and fish collagens are predominantly type 1 with some type 3. You would want to hit that type 2 collagen if joint pain is of relevance to you. Choose based on ethics, on taste, quality, but not marketing. Let's talk dosing. Realistically, 10 to 15 grams per day. Underdosing is the number one reason people don't see any effects at all. Timing. This part is simple. Consistency beats timing. Morning, night, afternoon, in your office, doesn't matter. Just take it every day. Some studies use pre-workout with vitamin C, but the improvement is marginal. Let's talk synergy. And you'll ask me, well, what do you mean by that? How is that related to collagen? Well, vitamin C is a cofactor for collagen synthesis. So practically, what does that tell you? For bone, You can combine collagen with calcium and vitamin D. For joints, pairing with training may actually help you achieve better results. So, if you're interested in going the extra mile and hitting that extra target of yours, these are some tips and tricks that you may want to be aware of. Now, I know that buying all of these supplements is oftentimes not cheap pleasure, and sometimes we do just want a cheaper alternative or something that we can feel more comfortable with spending on frequently and regularly, as it is the case with collagen that you do have to take daily for at least a year to kind of see those effects, right? So cheaper alternatives, what can we do for ourselves if we don't want to spend loads on it? So let's talk about these two food sources that will also provide you with that collagen if you choose to opt out of having all of these supplements and extra powders on your kitchen counter. For these two options that you probably will come across most often and you may find a bit more accessible and easier to purchase, might just be easier for you to consume your collagen through. So one of these things is gelatin. It has a similar amino acid profile to collagen and it is much cheaper. The second option is bone broth. It contains both collagen plus minerals and a joint supporting compound. It's less standardized, but it's very nutrient dense and has been shown to have great effects actually on gut health and your gut barrier and helping that gut barrier stay intact as well. It's just a great addition to the range of foods that you consume. If budget matters, both of these options, gelatin and bone broth, will take you 80% of the way there. Over the past year, I have seen so many adverts on this one thing that I just couldn't quite comprehend what it would do for me. And genuinely, I have been conflicted about whether I need to look into it, whether I need to buy it. Is this going to do unbelievable goodness to my body that I just wasn't aware of, and I've been silly for not knowing about it in the past? And that one thing that I want to talk about now is sea moss. I don't know about you, but I certainly have been targeted by social media on sea moss specifically. I'm not sure whether that stemmed from my initial curiosity and what that is and why that is being heavily marketed everywhere online, but certainly seems like people are going for it, and it just made me think about whether it would be a good point to stop for a second and actually drop in a few pearls of wisdom about sea moss here as well, because I think it would also be of interest to you guys and perhaps you will find something helpful. Here we go. Where does it actually fit in this whole collagen dilemma that we are discussing with you today? Sea moss comes up constantly in collagen conversations, so let's place it accurately. First, structurally, sea moss does not contain collagen. Its defining compound is carrageenan, which is a sugar-based fiber or polysaccharide, if you are familiar with that scientific term. Chemically and biologically unrelated to collagen, which is a protein. Yes, sea moss contains amino acids like glycine and proline, which are the building blocks of collagen, but the amounts are quite small. A typical serving provides far less of these amino acids than collagen supplements that were used in studies showing skin or joint benefits. In practical terms, it's not enough to drive collagen synthesis. Where sea moss may help is indirectly. It contains polyphenols and other antioxidant compounds that can protect existing collagen from oxidative damage. Things like UV exposure and environmental stress. That's a preservation effect, not a building effect. And importantly, this has not been confirmed in human-controlled studies. Most evidence comes from cellular and animal models. Now, this is where things get a bit more complicated. Sea moss is one of the richest natural carrageenan-containing compounds. While food-grade carrageenan is legally approved and widely consumed, its safety is conditional, not universal. People with inflammatory bowel disease or compromised gut barriers appear particularly sensitive. Clinical studies show improvement in Crohn's disease when carrageenan is removed from the diet, and seaweed also acts as a bioaccumulator, meaning it can concentrate heavy metals like arsenic, lead, and mercury depending on where it has been harvested. That doesn't mean sea moss is inherently toxic, but it means that it has not been rigorously studied in long-term human clinical trials. So here's the clean takeaway for sea moss linked to collagen, or the lack thereof. Sea moss is not a collagen alternative. It may have antioxidant or micronutrient benefits, but it doesn't provide collagen in meaningful amounts. and it introduces variables that collagen supplements simply don't. So I thought mentioning this would be of value here, since CMOS may feel very similar to marine collagen. But anyway, carrageenan itself deserves a separate conversation. Let's talk about quality, safety, and hype, and how not to get scammed. This is where things really do get ugly. Collagen hype is loud, but collagen quality, well, let me tell you, questionable. First of all, heavy metals and contamination. Collagen comes from animal bones and skins, exactly the kind of tissues that actually naturally do accumulate heavy metals, but independent testing has found that 64% of collagens were contaminated with arsenic, 37% with lead, 34% with mercury, and 17% with cadmium. Some even exceeded accepted limits. The truth is, marine collagen quality depends entirely on how it's produced and how it's harvested, which essentially means that it depends entirely on how polluted the waters are. Bovine depends on farming practices. Recent tests show with bovine that risks are quite low with well-sourced brands, but it is not zero. So what should you be looking for? Third-party testing. NSF, USB, Informed Sport, Isolabs, what have you. Do check their credibility and their portfolio. Look for a real certificate of analysis listing heavy metals, transparent sourcing, and GMP certified facilities. If a brand hides behind proprietary language, run. Funding bias. Industry-funded studies are significantly more likely to report benefits. When researchers removed those studies from meta-analyses, the skin effect almost vanished. So if every study quoted by a brand was funded by that brand, dial your expectations way, way down. What about vegan collagen? Let's keep this simple. Plants do not contain collagen. Vegan collagen is a collagen builder, usually amino acids and vitamin C. Potentially useful, but not collagen. Don't pay collagen prices for something that a regular protein shake could achieve. Let's tap into collagen coffee, creamers, gummies, liquid collagen shots, K-beauty collagen masks. Did I forget anything? Most are underdosed, expensive forms of the same powder. And topical collagen is too large to penetrate your skin. You're getting hydration from other actives, but not collagen itself. There's an ongoing debate about whether ultra small hydrolyzed collagen peptides might sneak into the upper layers. The effects, if any, remain minimal and surface level. The textures are fun, melting hydrogels, jelly creams, overnight wrapping masks, but these work because they're hydrating and occlusive, not because collagen is getting into your dermis. Also kind of interesting to tap into. Because collagen, especially hydrolyzed collagen and bone broth, tends to be high in histamine due to processing, it may potentially contribute to headaches, hives, and even gut issues in sensitive individuals with histamine intolerance. The final checklist: how to choose a good collagen supplement. Look for hydrolyzed collagen peptides, 1 to 3 kilodalton molecular weight stuff or low molecular weight stuff, a dose that realistically gets you 10 to 15 grams a day, grass-fed bovine or responsibly sourced or wild-caught marine, third-party testing, certificates should be available, and minimal additives. Avoid vegan collagen marketed as actual collagen, brands with no testing, products sourced from non-responsible farming, anything making reverse aging in 2 weeks kind of claims. So here's the bottom line. Collagen isn't fairy dust and it isn't snake oil. For nails, for bone, cartilage, if you take a real dose consistently and buy something that isn't secretly filled with heavy metals. If you want subtle, slow support, great. If you want a facelift in 4 weeks, please donate that expectation to science. We'll file it under cute but impossible. Thanks for listening to For Science Sake. If this episode saved you from wasting money or convinced you to stop blaming collagen for not being a wizard, share this with a friend whose expectations are higher than collagen's actual job description. If this episode hit a nerve, follow the pod, drop a quick review. Mwah! I'll see you soon.